Well, hello, colleagues and teacher. The article I'm going to talk about is about self-directed learning by Roger Hiemstra. Mm, the first link I got was broken. The website doesn't exist anymore, so I've decided to attach in here the website where I got the article. Actually, it starts from page 28 from this document, so you can check later. You can pause and then copy and paste in your browser. So self-directed learning. Hiemstra first conceived this idea as ITLP, which stands for Individualized Teaching Learning Process. This idea was conceived in 1988, but after some revisions in 1991, finally he morphed, let's say, the name into II, which is Individualized Instruction. Self-directed learning, well, Hiemstra conceived this idea uh, by being influenced by Malcolm Knowles and Alan Tuff principally. Malcolm Knowles, as you might hear from our classmate Nilsa, he is very important into what is informal adult education and the andragogy concept, which is a little um, divergent, let's say, from what pedagogy is. So Malcolm Knowles was very important into um, the ideas of adult education in the US. So Hiemstra conceived the self-directed learning first, addressing it to adults, but this can also be applied to young learners, well, high school learners, I'm sorry, but it's principally addressed to adults. And Alan Tuff, which also worked in the adults learning project, and these projects were a huge influence for Hiemstra. So you can check later in here all the um, links I've attached. So self-directed learning, as I said before, based on Michael Knowles, what he said, in a little in contrast to pedagogy and andragogy. In here, self-directed learning is in contrast to teacher-directed learning, which is the common or the traditional teaching in which the teacher is the sole source of knowledge and everything is based on him. So the teacher tells the student what they have to do and what they have to learn, which is very the opposite of self-directed learning. Something very wrong from teacher-directed learning is that it's in detriment of learners because they have to seek their own improvement. So this is not what this traditional methodology is doing. So what is the main or what are the main goals of self-directed learning? Well, is to potentialize learners' decision for achievement and to make them aware that they are responsible for their own learning. It's not the teacher who is the only person to give the knowledge to students, but they have to be responsible for their own. What they want to learn, how they want to learn, is everything around the self-direction. So this self-directed learning is based upon 6 steps. And these steps are, first of all, activities prior to meetings with learners. So the facilitator, the teacher is called facilitator in this case. He has to prepare or design the course on the materials, everything around what the students might need, always focusing on the students' needs. So in this case, the second step is about the overall needs, that is in taking into account any physical or emotional or social needs that the student might present. So the facilitator has to take all this into account so as to make the lessons more appropriate for students or learners. Third, we have the attention to educational needs, and this is highly important because in this case the learners are going to focus on what they want to learn. So there are specific needs that the facilitator has to cover and has to offer and promote into students. So what the students want to learn, now the point is how they want to learn. So there are maybe some strategies that might facilitate students' knowledge. So it is the role of facilitator to have conversation, constant conversation with the learners so as to see what they really want and how is the best way for them to acquire this learning and achieve their goals. So in that case, the facilitator, after setting like how is the best way for the learner to acquire knowledge, so he starts offering his knowledge, let's say. So what they want to know, let's say specific grammar issues or vocabulary. So it's in the fifth step, the parallel tradition instruction, in which the facilitator offers his teaching help. And finally, we have assessing overall accomplishment, in which, well, in most of the institutions require grades to check if learners have acquired what they need. So what are the specific roles of the facilitator? Well, he's a content resource, and that has to do with experience. So the facilitator is full of expertise and experience during his life, so he has to offer all this experience in the best way the learner can learn. So the facilitator is also a resource locator. So maybe the learner really wants to learn what they want in the best way they want, but perhaps they don't know where to find the best resources. So it is one of the roles of the facilitator to offer this help to the learner. So maybe a website, maybe specific exercises, maybe a desired book, specific readings for the learner. Facilitator is also an interest stimulator. So it's our role to keep promoting what the learner wants, keep reminding what are the goals they want to achieve, so as keep the interest high. It's also a positive attitude generator, and that means that he has to stimulate the positive attitude, giving positive feedback, good like critics, let's say constructive critics, and positive reinforcement. Creativity and critical thinking stimulators, so how they are learning. Maybe the strategies are writing visual biographies, using PowerPoint presentations for something specific related to their lives. So this creativity facilitator has to stimulate. And finally, evaluation stimulator, and that has to do not only with the facilitator grading, but also with the learners doing self-assessment and thinking if how they are learning what they want to learn are really addressing them directly to their goals, or there's something they need to change. So in this article, Hiemstra also did a survey on some colleagues, like interviewed them, and their opinion are different. So their colleagues talk about the individual initiative, how important it is on the learners, that they want to what they want to learn, how they want to learn. So it is highly important that each person, each learner has the initiative really to learn. So not only the teacher pushing them, but facilitating the desire to acquire knowledge. So opinions on learning contracts. Learning contracts is kind of a hard topic or a hard concept, but it is important because the learners are kind of forced, let's say, or they are reminded that they are the responsible for the learning process. So it's not only the facilitator, but it's also them who are responsible for what they want to achieve. Also, the opinions on teacher directed dominance, why this traditional methodology is still in most of the places. Why? So it is because maybe teachers are reluctant to this abrupt change, and they want to, let's say, keep power in some sort, uh, and that's why most of the teachers are doing it wrong, because maybe they have the previous examples from their former teachers, or simply, as I've already said, they perceive that they have to tell students what they have to do, and they have to follow a syllabus. So it's not only like what the learner wants, but what they should tell, what they should teach. In this regard, Hiemstra also tells his opinions on why teachers are doing it wrong. And then we have four important parts in here. So teachers don't periodically re-examine what they are doing. So it's just like they keep doing the same for all over the years, and they don't do any kind of stop on the way and think about what they're doing. As I said before, the former teachers modeling, so they taught in a traditional way, so we teach in the same way. That would be the concept. There's no re-examination, and there is no feedback also from the other colleagues or from the students, and they are reluctant to accept any kind of feedback. And also maybe because there are no opportunities for instructional improvement in their institutions. So in that way, we can go back and see that self-directed learning, although it's highly important and actually has more acceptance than rejection from learners, there are some critics because it's kind of difficult. So for example, stimulus response. At the beginning, every learner is focused on getting grades. So just like by training them on their self-directed learning, in the responsibility of their own learning, um, teachers have to kind of promote stimulus response, kind of a um, behavioral methodology, which is by giving them grades, and then after that it should stop. Also, the class size is highly important in self-directed learning, because a group of 30-40 students in a classroom would be hard to control and hard to assess in terms of the facilitator-learner relationship, in terms of constant conversation. And the length of terms, sometimes academic terms are very short, so they don't promote enough time to create this relationship. So the facilitator offers the best help for students to get their best resources on how to learn, what to learn, in order to achieve their goals. So as you can see, self-directed learning is it's a very good way, to learn, and is in our roles as not only teachers but facilitators to promote autonomy in students into getting responsibility in their own learning, in how they want to learn and what they want to learn. So remember the links I already gave you, so just keep in touch. I hope this was of good help for you. Thank you very much.